Thanks. For months, Senator James Lankford has been working on a bipartisan immigration reform bill that looked as if it might offer some real reforms, just to have some of those hopes dashed this past week as presumptive Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump and some other Republican leaders started coming out against this deal.
Senator Lankford has pushed back, saying Republicans shouldn't wait. The time to act is now, and that has led to the Oklahoma Republican Party censuring him. He is live in studio with us this morning and wants to set the record straight. Senator, thank you for giving us the time this morning. We appreciate it.
Glad to be able to do it.
What is going on? Where do things stand in Washington right now on this deal?
Obviously, we've got major problems with the border. No one, Republican, Democrat, Independent, doesn't matter. No one thinks what's going on the border is good at this point. We've had 8 million people illegally cross the border in the last 3 years. That's more than the previous 12 years combined. If I could put it in context, in the last 5 weeks, we've had more people illegally cross than during the Obama administration we had in 1 year. Wow. So it's just skyrocketing as far as the number of people that are crossing, all kinds of different issues on this. So 4 months ago, Senate Republicans all locked arms and said, we're not going to work on a national security bill unless it also secures our southern border. We have to be able to secure that border. The Biden administration wanted funding. We said, no, there needs to be a change in law. We've got to be able to change the asylum standard to be able to tighten that up. We've got to have faster deportations. We've got to have a faster process of the hearings so we can actually turn people around quicker. And we've got to have some way to have what we call a break glass authority, like Title 42, where if we get overwhelmed, we can turn people around so that law enforcement's in control, not the cartels. So the last 4 months, that's what I've been negotiating with Democrats in the Senate and with the White House to be able to press them and say, this is what we've got to have national security. We're now at the very edge of that bill being released, hopefully this week. And that bill would come out and actually do all of those things. It actually takes our border from the chaos that it is now to a secure border, and it radically transforms how we actually handle the process. But now we have some folks say, hey, well, don't solve it now because we're in a presidential campaign. It wouldn't make Biden look good if we actually solve it now. My focus has been all along, we have to secure our border. It's in chaos. Let's do what it takes to secure our border.
On the Sunday shows yesterday, you kind of slammed some folks for reacting to what you called internet rumors. We mentioned the former president kind of has come out against it, the Speaker of the House, and also Oklahoma Republicans. What would you say to folks who, before the text is even out, are already seemingly against this?
Yeah, it's interesting. I have folks that catch me all the time and say, I want you to read the bill before you vote on it. But there's not a person that's actually read this bill before
it's not out there.
It's not out there. It's not public. So they're picking up all these different internet rumors of what it could be. To be very clear, of being accused of promoting amnesty and everything else, there's no amnesty in this bill at all. This bill focuses on border security. It is the key issue of our time that we've got to be able to secure our border. There are folks that, quite frankly, want to be able to see the issue continue. For me, the focus is we have a responsibility constitutionally to be able to protect our nation. We have a responsibility to be able to protect our families. And I work for the people of Oklahoma that have said to me over and over again for the last 3 years plus, do what it takes to be able to secure our border. And now, literally, when we get to the edge of doing it, they're like, just kidding, don't do that. Now, I would tell you as well, over the past several days, I've been overwhelmed with the number of contacts to me of people saying to me, I hear what's happening with a small group and a political activist group. I don't agree. I've had firefighters, I've had police officers reach out to me, I've had all kinds of different groups say, keep going, we need to be able to secure our nation.
I want you to address one particular rumor that's out there, this that your bill would allow 5,000 border incursions a day. Is that true?
No.
Please, your response.
No, that's absolutely not true. Okay. There's this focus to say, we're going to welcome in the first 5,000 like somebody's sitting up there with a clicker counting in 5,000 and then we close the door. That's not what it is. It's a shutdown authority like Title 42. In the last 4 months, we've only had 7 days that were under 5,000 people illegally crossing the border. 7 days in the last 4 months. So which would have meant if this bill would have been in place, instead of almost 1 million people that have come in and been released into our country, if this bill would have been in place 4 months ago, that almost 1 million people would have all been turned around back into Mexico. So the difference is pretty stark here. That's the turnaround to say we're actually shutting the border down and everybody's going back rather than everybody's actually released in the country. So it's been very misinterpreted, misunderstood, or just twisted on purpose. But no, why would we ever have an open border that allows 5,000 people a day to be able to come in? The focus of this is changing the asylum process, changing the way we do detention, turning people around faster, doubling the number of deportation flights so that people that qualify get in, and people that don't, which is the vast majority of folks, they all get turned around.
Senator, I've been down on the border with you before, and I know you've been down there several times with your colleagues. How frustrating has this process been for you? I think some folks watching it from afar are like, why would you want to get involved in something like this?
Yeah, it is not only my constitutional responsibility, but it's also the committee that I serve on. I serve as the ranking member in the Border Management Subcommittee. This is an issue that I work on a lot, and we're trying to bring solutions. I've had folks that have caught me and said, why are you working with Democrats on this? Well, I happen to work in the United States Senate, and Democrats are in the majority in the Senate, and any bill that you move through the Senate has to be a bipartisan bill. Now, they can move partisan bills through the House, but through the Senate, it has to be a bipartisan bill. So if we're going to actually solve this, I've got to get both sides of the table, both sides having hard conversations, agreeing that this is a problem, settling on the solutions.
One last question, very few seconds left. Do you think you're going to get there?
We are pushing to get there, yes. We have strong support in the Senate to be able to move this. Obviously, the House has looking at it and saying, hey, we're seeing the same internet rumors. They've got to be able to read the bill and to be able to go through it. The interesting thing is, President Trump's team has said, hey, these authorities I'd really like to have. In fact, they asked for, when President Trump was president at the time, these are the same authorities he was looking for there. And so quietly, there's a group of folks saying, we really want to have that. And the other side is saying, but politically, this is the wrong time to be able to do it. There's not a wrong time to be able to do the right thing. That's what my mom used to always say to me.
There you go. Senator, thank you for talking to us this morning. We appreciate your time.
You bet.